Hi, it's Stephen Van Kampen-Lewis on January the 21st, 2021, and I'm continuing the little series I have of show and tell of basically what I've got blooming right now. It seems like it's spring already in terms of the number of plants blooming and spiking. So things are blooming a little early this year, which whatever. I have no complaints. But today's video, I'm going to quickly show you these two. This is Catasetum schunkei, and this is Catasetum black knight. Both of those are two of my favorites, actually. And having them bloom side by side it will be kind of a fun exercise to show what a miniature Catasetum looks like next to a sort of a standard or very large Catasetum. So let's turn around and go check them out. All right, so we have the Catasetum schunkei right here, which is an import from Brazil. I would say certainly less than 2 years ago, probably about a year ago, or maybe close to 2 years ago. And then one of my favorite, all-time favorite primary hybrids is Catasetum black knight. But I mean, I just want to show you the size difference of the flowers here. Let's see if I can get them right next to each other, and you can see that I think I could fit 2 or 3 of the shunkeis into a single black knight flower. You know, they're right next to each other. So, and in addition to the flower size difference, you can see that the plants are quite a bit different. So there's my hand in there, but I mean, you can see the bulb here, this mature bulb, and granted, this is a small bulb, and I'll talk to you in a moment about why that is. So you can see that's, you know, maybe as big as my thumb, whereas these guys, you know, I can fully grab with my hand. They are very large bulbs. And so this particular one can be quite a space hog, whereas this one might be better for someone growing indoors under lights or just simply with space constraints. So both of them are growing in PET. This one has gone dry, probably a little early. You can see by the shriveling of the bulb and the status of the leaves that it was not quite ready to go dormant. And of course the flowers themselves, this is a species that often puts out its bloom spike as the plant is growing the new spike. So it's, you know, it's just one of those ones where it's an import that's still kind of confused and has gotten drier earlier than previously than it wanted. So, but I'm going to zoom in here on the flowers a little bit and show you some of the detail. It's a really cool species, and it's not common in the United States, but you can import them fairly regularly from Brazilian vendors. And actually there's, I think I got this one from a gentleman in Florida, whose name I'm totally blanking on, and I apologize. So I'm gonna add a little tag here to tell you which company he's from. But he seems to have shunkei on a semi-regular basis. But just look at the lip here as I jam my giant finger in here. They're kind of hard, kind of plasticky. This is not sort of a soft, frilly lip, but then the spots are really cool as well. And of course, my thumb there shows you just how small these flowers are. And these flowers are a little smaller since the plant did go dry before it was ready. And actually, you can see the pollinia has fired there, so this particular flower will probably shrivel up fairly quickly. Let me see if I can get a pollinia to fire for you. Let's see if I stick my finger in there. Nope. Nope. My finger is too big to trigger the pollen. You can see that the trigger is way in the back of the throat there, kind of at the back of the labellum. It looks like a little fang hanging down. You can see 2 of them on this guy here. I can't get my finger all the way in there because it's too big. But anyway, so that's the shunkei. Let me zoom out a little bit here. And you can see again, shriveled back bulbs, shriveled front bulbs. So actually after this video I'll end up watering it and probably let a little bit of water sit down there in the bottom. You can see good healthy root system on that guy. And Catasetum black knight, which is Tenebrosum by expansum. So Tenebrosum is a dark flower, almost black, and you can really see that influence here. You can also see that so black Catasetums aren't really black. They're actually just so dark of a red that they can appear black, and that's, you can really see the case. You can see that here in this particular instance, as the angle of the light looks really good and shows off the red rather than black. And this guy does look black on certain bloomings. Of course, you can see that the shape comes from the expansum, including the big callus here, the sort of round but sort of squared off shape of the lip there. And that's actually something that does change over time. Actually, not over time, but between blooming. Sometimes the lip is quite round, and sometimes it's more of that boxy shape that you can see right there. Actually, this is one that I can fire the pollinia. I don't think that there's any judgings coming up that I can attend, so I will give you a little show and tell of. So you can see that little, it looks like a fang hanging down. That's the pollen trigger. If we go like this, boink, suddenly it shoots pollen out there. And let me see if I can knock the pollen, the cap off, and drop the cap. And suddenly you can see the pollinia. And of course, pollinia are one of the defining characteristics of orchids, is that they don't have pollen that are dust-like. They have pollinia, which are these sort of pollen packets. And of course, if I was a bee, this would be stuck to me and I'd be flying around. And this is actually pretty well cemented on. This is a very it's an excellent sticky substance for what it does. And you actually have to scrape it off. There we go. You can see there's still pieces left. And that's the pollen right there. Cool, huh? As far as the plant is concerned, it's still trying to be kind of active and thinking about dormancy. Hasn't gotten water for at least a month, maybe more. But again, you can see the back bulbs are shriveled here, so I'll give this guy a little drink of water to fatten them up. And one more look at the flowers. The symmetry of these flowers as they're presented. No crowding, or very little crowding. There is some crowding, but very little. It's nicely spaced around a central point, so you kind of create this cylinder of flower in a very symmetrical manner. Really beautiful. One of my favorites. Absolutely gorgeous. Smells great. And that's it. That's today's show and tell. I think the next one will be, actually I'm going to do a comparison of my two nobiliores, because the size difference is so great between the two. They're blooming. The tipo that I showed earlier, and then the cerulean that's right there. Talk to you later. Bye.